We don't have the right to just go kill somebody.
No.
Why is that? Because we can't make a life. Does God have that right?
Yes, He does.
We belong to Him. We can't put Him on our level. Our level says that I can't create a life, so I don't have a right to take it. God says, I'm killed and I make alive. I have a right to make a life. I have a right to take that life. I have a right to assign somebody else to take the life because it's mine. I do with mine what I want to do with it. But it's not yours, so you can't do that unless I tell you to. So what happens? Often Satan pops up and tells people that God is telling them to go take a life. And they go do it thinking that God is telling them to do it. My. 1 Samuel chapter 28 verses 1 through 25, we find these inspired words. In 1 Samuel chapter 28 verses 1 through 25, here's what we find. And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare and to fight with Israel. And Achish said to David, know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish, surely thou shalt know what thy servant can do. And Achish said to David, therefore will I make thee keeper of mine head forever. Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those who had familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. So Saul got rid of all of them, because God had said already, don't fool around with them. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled. Now remember, Saul had already disobeyed God, so God wasn't with him anymore. God had left him. And when Saul inquired of the Lord answered him not, neither by dreams, nor by Urim, nor by prophet. Now the Urim was a part of the high priest's garment. He had the Urim and the Thummim. When God spoke to them, and when they asked a question, God would answer them. If it was yes, then one would light up. If it was no, then the other would cloud over. And that's the way God communicated often with them. So God didn't answer him by Urim or Thummim either. Then said Saul unto his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit. That's a witch, friends. That's those who profess to talk to the spirits of the dead. That I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit in Endor. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment. He went incognito, in other words. And he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit. In other words, that's the spirit of Satan. And bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee. And the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? So she's wondering if he's somebody trying to trick her. So they run back and tell Saul that there's a woman with familiar spirits, so she can be killed too. So and Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, as the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. In other words, I assure you, you're not going to get into trouble. I'm going to protect, I'm going to look out for you. Not going to tell anybody. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried. And see, when the woman saw Samuel, at least she thought she saw him, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. Samuel did not come up, because the dead know not anything. The Bible is full of text by how the dead know not anything. Everything, when they die, everything perishes with them. So she did not actually see Saul. Now it says, and the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods descending out of the earth. And he said unto her, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. Now, here's a key text right here. And Saul what? Perceived that it was Samuel. That means Saul thought that it was Samuel. He perceived it was Samuel. It's not saying it wasn't necessarily, it was not Samuel. He perceived that it was Samuel. And he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me. So he knew that God had left him. God had departed from me. Now when God departs from you, who's left? The devil. So if God had departed from him, why would God answer him and let Samuel actually come up and talk to him? God wasn't speaking to him. So if God did not want him to know anything from him, he would not have sent Samuel to talk to him and tell him. God would have told him himself. So that's more evidence that it was not really Samuel. Continue, it says, and answereth me no more. Talking about God's departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and has become thine enemy? Now, if the Lord has become Saul's enemy and departed from him, why in the world would God allow Samuel to come do what he wouldn't do? God's like, I'm not going to talk to you, Saul, but I'll send Samuel and let him talk to you. See how much spiritual sense that makes? It was not Samuel, friends. It was not Samuel. It was a fallen angel masquerading as Samuel. Verse 17 of chapter 28 says, and the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me, for the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. So the devil was telling him some truth here. Yeah, this part actually was true. But you see what it did? It opened the door for spiritualism, for other people to believe that they can go to witches and get the truth. Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executeth his fierce wrath upon Amalek. Therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, and tomorrow shalt thou and thy sons be with me. The Lord also shall deliver the host of Israel into the hand of the Philistines. See, so the devil apparently knew what was going to happen. God had already turned his back against him. So the end result was death. What's the wages of sin? Death. God has turned against him. Then Saul fell straightway all along the earth, and was sore afraid because of the words of Samuel. And there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. He was fasting, but in vain. God had already turned against him. And the woman came to Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, behold, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hands. And I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words which thou spakest unto me. Now therefore I pray thee, hearken thou also unto the voice of thine handmaid, and let me set a morsel of bread before thee, and eat,